Hi there, and welcome to the Swedish hydrogen channel. I got some problem with my test generator actually, and that's why I built a test generator, because I really wanted to see if there would be any issues, and there was. Actually, the polykarbonat side wall, end wall, where the hoses are put into, it bursts. And it burst one time, and then I rebuilt it, and this time I saw what happened, and it was like a crack in the polykarbonat. I can imagine that crack, because I glued with silicone 2 polykarbonat pieces together with a gasket and very much potassium hydroxide in it, and it's no crack in that one, but I see when I run the generator, I see there's a lot of pressure into the wall of polycarbonate, and I think it's the pressure that makes bursts. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's a chemical reaction. Of course, it can be part of the truth that it is a chemical reaction, but I'm not sure if that's the case. But I'll try this. I had this 10mm transparent PVC instead now, so I'll try with that one, and I make extra space in the cell chamber, the last one in each edge of the generator, and see if it works better. And I'm also gonna try floating gasket, like silicone, but it's made for a lot of pressure, a lot of heat, and they use it's made for alkalytic substances, so I think it's much better. They use it in to make gaskets in racing car gearboxes, so it's a really expensive gasket material, but actually I drive rally and I have sponsors that sell this shit, so I get it for free, so no problem. So I'm gonna make a generator. I will use pieces of O-rings as distances, and I will put this gearbox gasket. It's like floating. It's not a O-ring. It's you have it in a bottle and you push it like a silicone bottle. So I'll try that. And I'm gonna put the gasket material around the cell to use as much as the plate as possible. So I think I can produce like at least 30% more hydrogen. But the question if the gasket will stand for the pressure and the heat and everything that's in the generator and the chemicals. That's my question. But as I said, I'll try this. I see it as a fun experiment, and hopefully it works. One other thing, as you might have seen or not have seen, I made balloons and I released them. They fly very good. I feel that with this small hydrogen generator that I built, by small I mean it was like 13 plates, and each plate has an O-ring inside the O-ring capacity of 6 centimeters in diameter. So that's nothing, you know. That's very small. It's like this. So not even that. This circle formed producing space. And I filled 1 liter of hydrogen and oxygen in one balloon, and it took like 2.0 minutes. I got it on video, so I can upload it if you want to see it. And actually, I noticed that it leaked a little bit of oxygen and hydrogen in the where I fitted the balloon into the hose. So actually, if I got it solid, I think I can fill it even faster with that small generator. But I'm a carpenter. I'm not a physicist or chemist man, you know. I'm not nature science. I'm a carpenter, and I do this. And if I can fill balloons in 2 minutes, 1 liter, with this small generator, that I put a ampere meter on it, and it was drawing like 0.2 amperes when I produced with a 12-volt battery. Now, can anyone explain to me why doesn't the car industry use this? They have professionals. They can build a car that runs on hydrogen. How easy as hell. They don't do it. Instead, they harvest rainforests to make place for ethanol, growings of ethanol, and they dig in Afghanistan and other countries to find lithium for the batteries, and they dig for oil. They dig for the oil for everything, for trucks and cars, and heating of a house in colder countries. They dig for coal, to have coal power plants. They have nuclear power plants. Why isn't everybody just looking at the thing we have right in front of us? We have water. Why in hell? Why can't we just ignore everything else and just look at the water? Actually, it's a lot of power in water, and it's very easy. It's very easy for a Swedish carpenter to extract hydrogen from distilled water. If I can do it, I think the greatest scientists and car manufacturers can also make cars that have a generator that converts water into hydrogen in every car. And I think they can develop a new engine that is first and mainly of all made for being driven on water in gas form, because it's not the petrol and the diesel cars are made for be driven with diesel or petrol. Both of those engines types have been converted for be driven with ethanol, pure ethanol in diesel engines, and mixed ethanol in gas engines. And actually, why don't they just produce a car that is made to run on water, and you fill up distilled water in the tank? You already have the potassium hydroxide, and to be safe, you don't produce more hydrogen than you use in the car when you're driving it. That must be the safest way to build a hydrogen car. No hydrogen tank, because that's what we're seeing right now. They're producing hydrogen car, yeah, but of course you can't produce your own hydrogen. You have to fill it in the station. That's the problem. If you fill it with water, they can't tax the gas. That would be a problem, and I think that's why you can't see it. I think you can correct me in this one, but I think in every country the car manufacturers and the governments, they are like this close. In Sweden we see it. The big companies, including the Volvo, Scania, that make lorries, yeah, they don't pay. They have great tax reductions. I'm not sure, but I think they don't have to pay any tax on the profit. I think they have to pay at least reduced or maybe full social security for their employees. But when Saab, rest in peace, Saab was a nice car. Some didn't like it, but Saab was a nice, safe Swedish car. I owned a couple myself, and fun. Most of them had turbo, so there was a lot of speed in those. And when Saab was going bad, almost broke, how in hell that happened? Because in Sweden, when this happened, like 50% of all the cars that were sold in Sweden was Saabs, and the other 50% was Volvo. So I can't understand how they have to go broke. But however, the government saved them with I think it was 20 billions in a mortgage. And of course they survived in a couple of months more, and then they went broke, and the government and we, the taxpayers, lost everything. Those 20 billions. Yeah, that's the way it is. So, as I said, the car manufacturers and governments this close. So that's probably why we can't see water-driven cars in our car productions. It will never be allowed, because if they do, I think that the government say, if you build that car, we will lose a lot of money, and if you do that, we won't. Oh, speed cam. Wait. Yeah, where were I? I think the government say that if you produce a hydrogen generator driven car that is only filled up with water, distilled water, then you can kiss goodbye to all your tax advantages, and you will pay full taxes on everything like the rest of the companies do in our country. And I think that comes in all over the world. That's what I think. What do you think? As I said, if a carpenter can fill a balloon and so far drive a land mover on hydrogen, home produced hydrogen directly from the generator, if I can do that with this small generator, I think the big manufacturers can do it as well. I think everything else is bullshit, and I think the internet has made us a hell of a favor in this case, because when this happened, when this was pronounced to the people the first time in our news, there was a guy called Stevie, and he showed the reporter that, here, drink water directly from the exhaust. And he drank it from the exhaust. Of course it wasn't that good, but at least it was water, because the car was driven on hydrogen that the car was producing on its own. It was like a nice ugly car, but it was run on water. And this guy, he didn't live for long after this. And I'm not sure about the exact story, but as I heard, he was in a restaurant and he took it. He was screaming like, "I've been poisoned," and then he died. And of course, if you say one car in Sweden take 1 liter per Swedish mile, that's 10 kilometers, and yeah, it's 15 crowns, $1.5 per mile, 3,000 miles in average per car, 6 million of cars in Sweden. Okay, it's a lot of dollars, and that's just the cars. The houses that have like 5 cubic meters of oil tanks, houses that is warmed up by oil in this warm country, not so warm, maybe up to 30 degrees minus Celsius in the winter. 5 cubic of oil times 1 million of houses that is heated up with oil power. That is a lot of dollars too. But there's been a lot of guys like me, not so many girls, but a lot of guys that actually made cars that was either, or most common, partly run with water, because they use it as a fuel saving product. But why the hell do you want to save fuel? You don't want to give the oil companies any more money. You've been doing that for a lot of years. Now it's time to produce fuel and drive 100% on fuel that is made on water, not 25% like those fuel savers do. They say that if you have a fuel cell that is like, if you have a 10 centimeter circular producing soon, and you have 21 plates, you'll saving in an average 6-cylinder car, you will save like 40%, they say. Why not build 4 of those, or 3 at least? A little bit more cell space, a little bit more cells, and you just drive your car. You adjust the ignition the timing, so it runs better with hydrogen. And you build a car that is producing. You have a safety valve that let out if there will be too high pressure. You have a hose, a valve and a hose that leads the hydrogen out of the car. You have a safety system that also have a regulator that you can put in a specific ampere, so you can lower, if you see that the pressure is going up, you can lower it and adjust it from the copy. Yeah, that would be really a nice thing. But first of all, I'm gonna build a generator that's working. That's the first thing. You have to make the small one work, not burst. When that is good, I can build the next one and put it in a car. But as I said, I think the camber, the last cambers in each end of the generator is it's too little cubics in there. I have to make it more. So I think I'm gonna, this is 10 of those, okay? And I think I'm gonna take and saw out 2 of those and glue them together with a whole one. That makes me a lot of more space. Of course it will need some more hydrogen electrolyte as well, but I get plenty of that, so that won't be a problem. But I think that makes it will not expand so it bursts, and I think PVC is better, even if this is only 10 millimeters. The polycarbonat was 12, but and also I will have 1/2 inch hoses instead of this 1/4 inch that I used, because there's also probably there's probably one of the reasons why it bursts. But mainly of all, I think it's the pressure that it's coming out of the holes in the stainless steel plates, and I see it is coming out with a lot of power. It just smashes on the polycarbonate wall. So I think those smashes and probably the chemical reaction maybe and the heat, but there was no heat. Actually, I put my hand in it and it was like the room itself, it's like 15 degrees Celsius. So there was no heat. Even after producing in 1/2 an hour, there was still no heat in it. And as I said, it produced like 0.214 amperes. 0.2 amperes. That's nothing. As you might can understand, there will be no heat with that low amperage. So that's not I wasn't surprised when I put the ampere meter on it. There's a wasp outside. Okay, I have to kill it. I see you.